ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Dear friends, about a fortnight ago we had the last class. There is a fairly long gap. We were in this Tritiya Valli. We had just commenced this Tritiya Valli of first Adhyaya. And then the first shloka, the first mantra, Rutam pibantau sukrutasya loke guham pravishtav parame parardhe chayatapau brahmavido vadanti panchagnayo yecha trinachiketaha. That mantra we read. And then I explained the meaning of that mantra. That mantra is in the context of the mention of Vidya and Avidya earlier. Vidya and Avidya were mentioned in the first, in the previous Valli, in the second Valli. What is Vidya? Vidya is self-knowledge. That is, Avidya is the thing which is causing misery, and then that is the essence of Vedanta. All the basic cause of misery is Avidya, and that is the essence of Vedanta. Avidya is because of identification of a jiva with a parichanna sharira. That is, identification of oneself with this body-mind complex is avidya, and getting out of that identification with this body-mind complex is vidya. Vidya is realization of the real nature of the self, and avidya is non-realization of the real nature of the self. So that is what we saw, and in that context we have seen this first mantra which talks about the two aspects of jiva. Rutam pibantau sukrutasya. Sukruta is the karma. Sukruta is the karma which has been done by a person, and then that karma is something which is inevitably gives a result. Karma is something which necessarily, like the Newton's law, it definitely gives a result. May not be immediate but later, but then result is definite. So that is why it is called Rutam. Rutam means Satyam, definite, something which is definitely. I think I explained the whole thing. I explained that whole thing. Rutam is Satyam, definitely, surely it is going to give result. Pibantau, there is a Dvivachana which is used, the dual number is used. It does not mean that there are two people in the Antahkarana. There are not two people, but there are only two dimensions of this jiva. There are only two dimensions of this jiva, in the sense that as long as we identify ourselves with the body-mind complex, you are a jiva. When you don't identify yourself with the body-mind complex, and when you see yourself as that Shuddha Chaitanya, you become a Sakshi, you become a witness, you become the witness consciousness. So that is a different, these two are the two different dimensions which are there. So one is having enjoying the fruit of karma. One means the one which is identifying with this body-mind complex is bound to, it has necessarily to enjoy the fruit of the karma, whereas the other one which realizes that it is not this body-mind complex, its nature is totally different, then that will not have this fruit of this karma. So this is what we have seen. Then why is this dual number used? We also saw one word called Chhatri Nyayam. If a group of people are going and some people are carrying umbrellas, we commonly refer to them, those people going with umbrellas. So like that, Chhatri Nyayena, Pibantau, this dual number is used. It does not mean that there are two entities there. It doesn't mean that there are two people who are sitting there in the Antahkarana. So that was the thing. We also read the Bhashyam up to that. Parame Parardhe, that is in that is the place of Brahman, that supreme dwelling place of Brahman. Parame Parardhe, that supreme dwelling place. And what is that supreme dwelling place? Buddhi Guha. This secret, cave-like thing. This secret cave-like thing. What is that cave? One's own Antahkarana, one's own Buddhi Guha. That is the center of consciousness. So that is what we saw. Then that is the Brahmanaha Ardham Sthanam Parardham. Brahmanaha Ardham is, that is the place where this Brahma, that is the place where this consciousness gets reflected. We know that, say Vedanta says that Antahkarana is a very, very subtle thing which is capable of reflecting the consciousness of, say the consciousness of Brahman. The difference between Antahkarana and all other things are, all other objects are, all objects including Antahkarana, they are all insentient. But then among those all insentient things, Antahkarana is especially, say it is so, Taijasa Dravyam it is called, that means it is having that ability to reflect the consciousness of that, say the Brahman consciousness. So that is how, say this pratipalana, buddhi pratipalana, antahkarana pratipalanam, that is called jiva. And then if you identify yourself with that, you are a jiva. So that is how, that is what we have read. And Brahmanaha sthanam, and we have to identify that Brahman in the same place, otherwise there is no way of identifying. Body, that's not the way to identify. Senses, sense organs, they are not the places where you can locate Brahman. Buddhi is the only place where you can locate Brahman, because Buddhi is the only thing which is having that ability to receive or reflect the consciousness of Brahman. So that is what is the picture here. Then we read up to this line, Parasya Brahmanaha Ardham Sthanam Parardham. Up to that point we read. Next line we have to read, Tasmin hi Param Brahma Upalabhyate. Brahmopalabhyate. We have to break it as Param Brahma Upalabhyate. Param Brahmopalabhyate. Ataha Tasmin Parame Parardhe.
Tasmin parame
Parardhe Hardakashe Pravistau Ityarthaha. So these two entities or two dimensions called Jiva and Atma, these two entities, again there was a discussion. I refer to that Brahma Sutra Adhikarana, Guham Pravishta Adhikarana. I refer to that Adhikarana in that Brahma Sutra, where there is a discussion as to what these two dimensions are. Are they Buddhi and Jiva, or are they Jiva and Paramatma, Jivatma and Paramatma? There is a long discussion about whether it is Buddhi and Jiva. Buddhi and Jiva cannot be equated, they cannot be clubbed, because Buddhi is something which is insentient and Jiva is somebody who is sentient. So when you are talking about two things, when you are clubbing two things, you have to club two equal things and you cannot club two unequal things. So which means that they refer to Jivatma and Paramatma only, and they don't refer to Buddhi and Jiva. And between these two, that is Jivatma and Paramatma, it is the Jivatma only which is eating the fruit of that, enjoying the fruit of that karma, and not the Paramatma. Because in Paramatma, there is no question of doership, there is no kartrutva, there is no bhoktrutva. It is pure, it is totally devoid of all these attachments. It has nothing to do with this body-mind complex. This body-mind complex is only an upadhi for that. So that upadhi, and then it is only illumining that upadhi. So that is what we have seen. Then tasmin hi param brahma upalabhyate. Tasmin means in that brahmana sthanam, parardhe, in that say hardha kasha, in this space called, in this heart space as they call it. Heart means not the physical heart which pumps the blood and all that. In Vedanta literature, whenever we come across the word heart, it refers to buddhi only. It does not refer to the heart which pumps out blood and receives blood and pumps out blood. It refers to the buddhi guha, the cave called say the buddhi. Tasmin param brahma upalabhyate. Ataha, therefore, tasmin parame parardhe ardakashe pravistau. These two things, they are said to be there in this Jivatma and Paramatma, are said to be there in this Hridaya Akasha. So that is the meaning here. Then Taucha Chayatapaviva Vilakshanau Samsaritva Asamsaritvena Brahmavidaha Vadanti Kathayanti. Okay, these two things, Tau means these two things. These two things, how are they? They are compared to Chaya and Atapa. Chaya is shadow. Atapa means light, sunlight. So this sunlight is on one side and Chaya, the shade is on another side. So what are these two things? Shade is something which is totally different from say sunlight, but it totally depends on that sunlight. It depends on the light, and then shade is something which has no independent existence. It is there only because of the light. It is there only because of that light. And these two things, who is in between these two things, that is Jivatma and Paramatma, who is the shade and who is the light? Jivatma is the shade, and then Paramatma is the light. It is the Jivatma who is the samsari. These two things are Vilakshanau. Vilakshanau means they are totally different. That is what it means. These two things are Vilakshanau means having different characteristics. Lakshana means characteristic. Vilakshanam means having different characteristics. Then how are they? This is one is samsaritva, the other is asamsari. One is a samsari. Samsaritva means it is a noun, bhavarthaka noun, which says the fact of being a samsari is called, the status of being a samsari is called samsaritva. The status of being an asamsari is called asamsaritva. That's all. The tvakaram, wherever you get, it refers to a particular status. So samsaritva, asamsaritvena. These two things are vilakshana. That is, jiva is a samsari. Samsari, why? Because it is identifying himself with itself with the body-mind complex, and that is the doer of karma. And as the doer of karma, it is also the enjoyer of that karma phala. And as a result of karma phala, it has to take some birth. It has to again go through that cycle of birth and death. So that is what is called samsaritva. Samsaranam. Samsaranam means keep on rotating. Keep on rotating, birth and death and birth and death. So that keeps on rotating. That is what is called samsaritva. The other thing is pure consciousness, which has nothing to do with this body-mind complex. So it is only this body-mind complex is only an upadhi for that. So this is, one is a samsari and the other is a asamsari. And then who is saying that? Brahmavidaha vadanti. Brahmavidaha. Who are these two? Who are these Brahmavidaha? Brahmavit. Brahmavit is one who knows Brahman. Brahmavidaha is plural. Plural of Brahmavit is Brahmavidaha. So these people who know the nature of Brahman, they say that these two things, this Jivatma and Paramatma, are comparable to this shade and light. Light is something which never undergoes any change, but then it causes this shadow. Light is something which does not change. There is no parinama. We know one word called parinama. Parinama means like milk turning into curd. That is a parinama. That is, one object turning into another is a parinama. Light is not changing. Yeah, light is avikari. This Paramatma is avikari. That is only it is only causing this chaya to appear. So that is the thing here. There is no parinama as in the case of milk turning into curd. Then Brahmavidaha kathayanti na kevalam akarminaha eva vadanti panchagnayah gruhasthaha ye cha trinachiketaha trih krutvaha nachiketognihi chitaha yaihi te trinachiketaha. So this is the last line. Panchagnayo yesha trinachiketaha chayatapau brahmavido vadanti panchagnayo yecha trinachiketaha. So these two things are compared to the Shaya and Atapa, not only by Akarminaha, not only by the Sannyasinaha. Brahmavidaha, who are these Brahmavidaha? Brahmavidaha are Sannyasinaha. Akarminaha, for the same thing, the word Akarminaha is used. Na kevalam Akarminaha eva vadanti. It is not only the Akarminaha. Akarmi is one who has given up all karmas, one who has renounced all the karmas. That is a sannyasi. That is a Brahmavit. So we are referring to these two, all the three words are one and the same. Akarmi is the same as sannyasi, is the same as Brahmavit. So na kevalam akarminaha eva vadanti. It is not only the sannyasis or Brahmavit, knowers of Brahman who are saying that, those who are also the Gruhasthas. Gruhastha is supposed to maintain 5 fires. Of course, we were discussing that nowadays nobody maintains those fires. These 5 fires meant for different purposes. These people who maintain 5 fires are called Panchagni, Panchagnayaha. Even now we come across certain surnames. Panchagnala so-and-so Shastri. Have you heard any such name? there are some people, Panchagmala so and so Shastri, Panchagmala is a surname for some people in coastal Andhra. So Panchagnaya Gruhasthaha. So these are the people who are Gruhasthas. Gruhastha is a householder who is having the responsibility to look after a brahmachari, to look after a vanaprastha, to look after a sannyasi. So this man's this Gruhastha's responsibility is really tremendous. So that is it. So these people also say that this Jivatma and Paramatma are like Chayatapa. Then who else? Trinachiketaha. Who are these Trinachiketaha? That is Trikrutvaha. Trikrutvaha means 3 times. Trikrutvaha means 3 times. Panchakrutvaha 5 times. Chatukrutvaha 4 times. So Krutvaha is a pratyaya. Trikrutvaha 3 times. Nachiketaha Agnihi Chitaha Yehi Te Trinachiketaha. Those who have performed this Nachiketa Agni 3 times. So this Nachiketa Yajna is supposed to be performed 3 times. So those who have completed this Yajna, that means these are above these Gruhasthas. Gruhastha is only somebody who is doing his normal day-to-day activity, whatever has been prescribed to him by his dharma. This is a day-to-day activity, this nitya, say karma, etc. Whereas these people are a step more. These people are those who have attained, those who have done some upasana, devatopasana, and then they have also done this Nachiketa Yajna 3 times. So these 3 things. So that means it is only to say that this is a very well established fact. It is only an established fact. Thus there are 2 dimensions in this jiva, or the individual as we call him. These 2 dimensions are, one is the Jivatma, the self which is identifying with the body-mind complex, and the other self, the other one, once that is after realization only it appears. Till that time it does not appear. The other one is that supreme consciousness which is illumining this whole thing. So that is the thing. Then let us see the next thing. So the overall meaning is mentioned here. Ataha tasmin parame parardhe tasmin hi param brahma upalabhyate. In this heart space, or in this buddhi guha as we call it, in this antahkarana, or in this mind space only, we have to identify, we should try to identify this Brahman. You can't identify Brahman outside, you have to identify Brahman within you. So that is why we are going to see the type of journey which the Upanishad is describing. What type of journey? And there is going to be a Ratha Rupa Kalpana. And for any journey, you require some vehicle. You require some ghoda, or you require a horse, you require a car, you require some aircraft or something like that. What is the vehicle which you have for that journey? And what are the accompaniments for that journey? And what is the destination of that journey? They are being talked about. So ultimately, the destination is yourself. The destination is not outside you. The destination is within you. So that has been told here. Tasmin hi param brahma upalabhyate. Where are you going to find the Supreme Brahman or Supreme Reality? The Supreme Reality has to be found in you only and not outside. So that is the meaning here. So the next mantra, let us read. Yassetu rijananam aksharam brahmayat param abhayam titirsatam param nachiketam shakemahi. So this thing, yaha setuhu ijananam aksharam brahma yat param abhayam titirsatam param nachiketam shakemahi. So this is the thing. So this shloka says that this basically refers to the karmi and the jnani. Karmi means one who is following the path of karma. It may be a karma yoga, or it may be a normal karma. And the other thing is a jnani, one who is following the karma path, the other man who is following the jnana path. The one who is following this karma path, what is his destination or what is his ambition? His ambition is to go to Swarga, his ambition is to do this Nachiketa Agni, and then or maybe to go to that Hiranyagarbha Loka. We have seen what is this Hiranyagarbha Loka and what not. That is the highest type of achievement, that is the highest level, not type, highest level of achievement, which the karma path can take you to. The karma path can take you to different destinations. The highest destination is that Hiranyagarbha's Prapti. So that is one thing. The other one is moksha. The other one is total liberation from all types of bondages, all types of miseries. That is a different thing. So this shloka, this mantra refers to both the people, the karma person on one, karmatha or rather karmi on one side and a jnani on the other. For this karmi, the apara brahma is the target. Apara brahma is not supreme. Para is supreme. Apara is na plus para is apara. You always remember, na plus para is apara. It's a samasa called nai tatpurusha samasa. So na plus para means not supreme. Not supreme Brahman. That is apara Brahma. So let me say not supreme Brahman. Instead of saying inferior Brahman, let us say the karmi's goal is to reach that not supreme Brahman. That is apara Brahma. When the jnani's goal is to know, it is not something to gain, it is not something to attain, it is something to know. Because you are not going to a different place, you are only knowing. So it is called Jnaya Brahma. One is Praptavyam, Gantavyam, which has to be attained, and the other thing is to be known. It is called Jnaya Brahma. Parabrahma is also called Jnaya Brahma. So this mantra we have to understand like this. Yaha setuhu ijananam. So this ijananam means the people who perform these yajnas. For the people who perform the yajnas, yaha setuhu. Setu means, you know the word setu? Setu means a bridge. So bridge is used for what? To cross over. And what are we crossing over here? We are crossing over say this dukkha santaranat. You are crossing over this all this misery of this world. You have to cross over the misery of this world. So for that, yaha setuhu ijananam. So you are crossing over and then getting some inferior, you are reaching that not supreme Brahman. So that is the first level. Yaha setuhu ijananam. This portion has to be clubbed with nachiketam. This Nachiketa Agni is meant for Setuhu Ijananam. Ijananam Setuhu refers to this Nachiketa Agni. Then the second portion is Aksharam Brahma Yat Param. Param is supreme, and that Aksharam, that imperishable Brahma which is there, and then that is Abhayam Titirsatam Param. This Abhaya state can be attained only by Parabrahma, not by Aparabrahma. Abhaya is, that is a totally fearless state. What is the totally fearless state? When you attain that state of non-dual awareness, when you are aware that there is nothing else but Brahman, that is a non-dual awareness. Only when you are in that state, then only that abhaya, that state of abhaya will be there. That is, you will not have that fear. Till that time there is a fear. Fear is there when you see the other person. There is a Upanishadic word, Dvitiya Dvai Bhayam. This you can note down. Dvitiya Dvai Bhayam. Bhayam is only when you see duality. Bhayam or fear is only when you see duality. When you don't see duality, there is no question of fear. So this can be understood at any level. It can be understood at a personal level, it can be understood at a social level, it can be understood at a country level. One country is afraid of another country only because you perceive the other country as an enemy. And it can be understood at a philosophical level also. So this perception of non-duality is the only thing which will take you beyond that fear, beyond the realm of fear. Abhayam titirsatam param. So this samsara param titirsatam, for those who want to to totally get over this samsara. So then what is that? Aksharam Brahma. So this second line and third line are connected. So if you break this mantra into four pieces, that is Yas Setu Rijananam, one piece, Aksharam Brahma Yat Param, Abhayam Titirsatam Param, Nachiketam Shakemahi. So this first piece and the last piece, that is Nachiketam, they are connected. That is Yas Setu Rijananam Nachiketam. Shakemahi applies to both. Then Aksharam Brahma Yat Param, Abhayam Titirsatam Param. Param Titirsatam, Samsarasya Param Titirsatam, for those who want to cross over or get over this thing called cycle called samsara. That is that fearless state. What is that? Aksharam Brahma. So here we are referring to two things. One is that Apara Brahma and the other is Para Brahma. Apara Brahma to be gained by a karmi, Para Brahma to be gained by a jnani. So that is the thing. So for both these two things, Shakemahi. Shakemahi means Vayam Shaknuvantaha. we are able to gain, we are able to do, not gain, we are able to do that. That is, we are able to do what? We are able to know Aparabrahma, we are able to attain Aparabrahma, and we are able to know Parabrahma. This is something which is a Gneya. Gneya means knowable. That is something which is attainable. These two are different. This distinction also we have to keep in mind. Aparabrahma is something, this is a place that is at a transactional level. This is at a higher level. Transactional level is different from absolute level. Transactional level, you are admitting one heaven, you are admitting some other place, you are admitting some Shivaloka, you are admitting some Vishnu Loka, you are admitting some Hiranyagarbha Loka, and what all these places you are admitting, say at a transactional level. But at the absolute level, these things, they become irrelevant. They become irrelevant, and then you are one with that supreme consciousness. So that is what is the Parabrahma. So these two things, have you understood this shloka, the mantra? Setu is a bridge. Yaha setuhu ijananam nachiketam shakemahi. Then aksharam brahma yat param abhayam titirshatam param shakemahi. This shakemahi applies to, connects to both. We are able to attain, we are able to know, we are able to attain one, we are able to know the other. That's what he says. Then let us see the Bhashyam. One is Nachiketa-agni and the other is Jnana-agni. We can say that, we can understand that way also. This Agni, Agni is a very common metaphor which we see. Agni is a common thing which we see in this Vedic literature. Nachiketa-agni. Nachiketa-agni is, that is the real say fire sacrifice which is performed by various people, all these Ritviks, Yajamanis and whatnot. Then Jnana-agni is, this is a solitary journey. Jnana-agni, this path of Jnana is not something like a satsang, it is not a group activity. Jnana-agni is an individual's activity, it is an individual's journey inside himself. Whereas this thing, Agni, this Nachiketa-agni can be a group activity, it is a social activity. Whereas this one is a group, it is an individual activity. Jnana-agni is a individual activity. So let us see the Bhashyam. Yaha seturiva setuhu Ijananam Yajamananam Karminam Dukkha Santaranarthatvat Nachiketo Agnihi Tam Vayam Gnatum Chetum Cha Shakemahi Shaknuvantaha. So here he says, Yaha Seturiva Setuhu. It is as though like a bridge. What is that? This Nachiketa-agni. This Nachiketa-agni is something like a bridge. It is something like a sort of, what is the other word for bridge? Okay, let us call it bridge only. So it is like a bridge which helps you to cross over to the other side. Then, Ijananam means Yajamananam. Ijananam is Yajamana. What is the meaning of Yajamana? One who is performing a yajna is a Yajamanaha. Yajamanaha is one who performs a sacrifice, a Yajamani. Then Karminam, the person who are performing these karmas. Yajamananam also means Karminam. Then this crossing over what? Dukkha Santaranarthatvat. Dukkha Santaranam. That is crossing over or going beyond this realm of dukkha. Going beyond the realm of dukkha is Dukkha Santaranam. Santaranarthatvat Nachiketa Agnihi. Nachiketo Agnihi. That is this fire called Nachiketo Agni. It is something which is a Upasya Agni. Upasya Brahma and Gneya Brahma. There are two other words which we see in Vedanta. Upasya means Upa Asa. That is, you worship there. You go and worship. You sit before a god and with that feeling of duality. Duality means I am different, I am a jiva and I am worshipping this god. I want this phalam. I want this benefit. So with that sense of duality, Brahman, this god is different and I am different. So with that sense of duality you are worshipping. You are doing upasana. That is that Upasya Brahma. So this Upasya Brahma, that Nachiketogni refers to that Upasya Brahma, Upasya level. Then Dukkha Santaranarthatvat Nachiketognihi Tam Vayam. Vayam means we. Gnatum Chetum Cha Shakemahi. We are capable of knowing and also performing it. Gnatum chetum cha. Chetum means chayanam. Chayanam means Agni Chayanam. Agni Chayana is performing that Agni ritual. So that is it. Chetum cha shakemahi shaknuvantaha. Shaknuvantaha means we are able to do that. So that is it. Then kincha yacha abhayam bhayashunyam samsara param titirsatam tartum ichhatam brahmavidam yat param ashrayam aksharam atmakhyam brahma tatcha jnatum shakemahi shaknuvantaha. Kincha means and also. Moreover, kincha yatcha abhayam, that is bhayashunyam. This word I explained, that is fearless state, bhayashunyam. Then samsara param titirsatam. Abhayam titirsatam param, isn't it? That word, if you see the mantra, titirsatam param. Param means the other end. Other end of what? Other end of samsara. Samsara param. Samsara param titirsatam. Titirsha is tartum ichha is titirsha. That is the desire to cross over. Titirsatam means of those who desire to cross over, who have the desire to cross over. Titirsha means the desire to cross over. Titirshuhu is one who has the desire to cross. Titirsatam is the Shashti Bahuvachan of Titirshu. That is of the people who desire to cross over that samsara. Go to the other end of the samsara or cross over this cycle of samsara. So that is it. Then samsara param titirsatam tartum ichhatam. Tartum means again the same thing. The meaning is same. Taranam is to crossing. Nadi taranam is crossing a river. Nadim tartum ichhatam. So samsaram tartum ichhatam. Those who want to cross over. Who are they? They are Brahmavidam, of the of the people who are in that path of path of knowledge. That they are the Brahmavidas. Then yat param ashrayam aksharam atmakhyam. For these Brahmavits, what is that supreme ashrayam? Yat param ashrayam aksharam. Aksharam is that imperishable thing. Atmakhyam. Atma means self. That supreme thing is nothing but the self. Atmakhyam. Akhya is that which is called. That which is called Atma. That is the supreme say goal. Atmakhyam Brahma. Atmakhyam Brahma. So Brahma is not different from this Atma. So that is what is the purport here. Atmakhyam Brahma. Tacha jnatum shakemahi. Even that we have been able to know. We are able to know. So in the earlier sentence there are two words used. Vayam gnatum chetum cha shakemahi. Gnatum chetum. That is, you have to know the meaning of a sacrifice and then you have to perform the sacrifice. So there, that gnatum chetum, there is a knowledge and also action. Knowledge at a limited level, not the Brahma knowledge, not the Brahma Jnanam, but Jnanam of that particular ritual. Here we are talking about Brahma Jnanam only. So there is no karma here. So there is knowledge and karma. Here it is only knowledge. So that is why only one word is used. Brahma tacha jnatum shakemahi shaknuvantaha. Then parapare brahmani karma brahmavidashraye No, you should not say vidashraye. Brahmavidashraye. Brahmavit is the word. Brahmavidashraya. That which is the ashraya for a Brahmavit, it is called Brahmavidashraya. Brahmavidashraye veditavye iti vakyarthaha. So these two Brahmas, that is Parapare Brahmani, the whole line is in dual number. The whole line, Parapare is a dual number, Brahmani is dual number, Brahma, Brahmani, Brahmani. So like that, there are no Brahmas. But then when you are visualizing two things, Para Brahma and Apara Brahma, you have to say Brahmani. Para and Apara becomes Parapare, Brahmani. Karma Brahmavidashraya, Brahmavidashraya. One is Karma Vidashrayam and the other is Brahma Vidashrayam. So, Karma Vidashrayam means Karmavit versus Brahmavit. Karmavit is one who is in the path of karma. Brahmavit is in the path of knowledge. So, Karma Vidashrayam is Aparabrahma. Brahma Vidashraya is Parabrahma. So, Parapare Brahmani Karma Brahma Vidashraye Veditavye iti Vakyarthaha. These two things have to be properly understood. This is the Vakyarthaha. The whole sentence, the whole mantra means these two things have to be properly understood. Veditavya means that has to be known, that has to be understood. With these to know. Veda, the same Veda. Veditavya iti Vakyarthaha. Etayoreva hi Upanyasah krutaha Rutam pibantau iti. So this Rutam pibantau in the earlier mantra, in that earlier mantra, it was only these two things were being referred to. These two things were being referred to. One is a karmata, and the other one who knows, one who is on the jnana path, he will know the other one. The one who is in the karma path, he will only be enjoying the fruit of that karma. The other fellow who is not in that path, who is in the jnana path, he will know the other light, chaya, atapa. One fellow will be always in chaya, the other fellow, who is in that path of knowledge, he will go to that path of light, atapa. So that is it. Etayoreva hi upanyasaha. Etayoreva means of these two only. Upanyasaha means mention. Upanyasa, not a lecture. Upanyasa means mention. It was there in where? In that Rutam Pibantav Viti. In the earlier mantra called Rutam Pibantav, a mention of these two things only were made. These two things means Parabrahma and Aparabrahma. When they refer to the Chaya Tapav, when they refer to that Rutam Pibantav and whatnot, we are referring to these two things only. That is one who is in the path of karma, and the other is who is in the path of jnana. Then the next mantra, Tatra Yaha Upadhikrutaha Samsari Vidyayoho Adhikrutaha Mokshagamanaya Samsaragamanaya cha Tasya Tadubhaya Gamane Sadhano Rathaha Kalpyate. So here the Jiva Swarupa is being told. Jiva Swarupa means the nature of Jiva. After all, the Upanishad has to tell us what is our nature. The whole goal of this Upanishad or Vedanta is to remove all misery, to lead us to liberation, to remove all the shackles, to remove all bondages. So that is the ultimate goal of Upanishad. That is the ultimate goal of knowledge. Knowledge is not supposed to bind you. Knowledge is not supposed to make you into a ritualist. Knowledge is should not make you a fundamentalist. But knowledge is supposed to make you free. Knowledge is supposed to liberate you in the sense it is supposed to make you totally free from all miseries, from all shackles, from all bondages, from all burdens. So that is the meaning of knowledge. So then, if that is so, then you have to know what is the Jiva Swarupa. Who are you? You are the knower, ultimately you are the knower. Then what is your nature? So unless you know your nature, you will not know what is the nature of bondage. You have to know yourself, you have to know about the universe, you have to know about whether there is anything called Brahma, whether there is anything called Creator, or what is my relationship with that Creator. So these things have to be properly understood. It is only when we understand these things, then we will be knowing what we are doing, and then we will be happy, we will be getting rid of the miseries. So that is the point here. So here, in the next couple of mantras, what is the nature of Jiva? What is the equipment which this Jiva is having? After all, this self-enquiry is basically the subject here in Vedanta, isn't it? Enquiry into the nature of the self. We are talking about an inward journey. We are not talking about any external journey. We are talking about an inward journey. If it is an inward journey, what is it that we have to do? What is your nature? What is your equipment? And in what manner you have to travel inwards? So that is being told. Tatra yaha upadhikrutaha samsari. So this word is says upadhikrutaha means one who is created by this upadhi. What is meant by created? Upadhi parichinnaha. Upadhi kruta means one who is delimited by this upadhi, or one who thinks that he is that upadhi, one who identifies himself with that upadhi. That is what is the meaning of upadhi krutaha, upadhi parichinnaha. And what is he? He is a samsari. He is not a jnani. He is not a brahmavit. He is a samsari. Then that is why he feels, he identifies himself with this upadhi krutaha. Then what is he? Vidya vidyayoho adhikrutaha. But then he has got an option. He can choose the path of vidya, or he can choose the path of avidya. He may choose the path of jnana, or he may choose the path of welfare in this world. Some abhyudaya and nishreyasa, these two words we have seen. Abhyudaya is prosperity, gain, personal gain, material gain, where you aggrandize yourself, your self is very much there. Nishreyasa is where your self is totally obliterated, it is made zero. And then you are just staying as Brahman awareness. So that is a different status. So this man, this samsari, he is adhikrutaha means he has an option. He has an option either for vidya or avidya. He can go in this way or that way. Vidya vidyayoha adhikrutaha. He is entitled or eligible for both the things. Moksha gamanaya, samsara gamanaya cha. Vidya path leads to moksha, this avidya path leads to samsara. Then tasya cha, tad ubhaya gamane sadhanaha rathaha kalpyate. And wherever he desires to go, tad ubhaya gamane. Ubhaya gamane means for both the paths. For both the paths there is a ratha. The ratha is common. The ratham is common. Ratham means a chariot. Ratham is a chariot. The chariot is common whether you want to go in the direction of samsara or whether you want to go in the direction of knowledge, whether you want to go in the direction of bondage or whether you want to go into the direction of liberation. So that is it. Then next mantra let us read. Atmanam rathinam vidhi.
Atmanam rathinam vidhi.
Shariram rathamevatu.
Shariram rathamevatu.
Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi.
Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi.
Manah pragrahamevacha.
Manah pragrahamevacha.
So here the Upanishad is saying that you are endowed with a very, very divine vehicle. There is a beautiful divine vehicle with which you are endowed. So that is what it says. Atmanam rathinam vidhi. Atma, Rathi, let us see the word Rathi. Rathi is the master of the chariot. In any, say suppose you take a vehicle, there is a master, there is a driver, there is some physical equipment in that vehicle. So we are referring to, because in the Upanishadic days, all these BMW cars and all these were not there. Moreover, BMW car analogy does not fit here. The horse, the Ratha, the chariot analogy fits here. Chariot analogy fits here, BMW analogy does not fit because BMW does not have horses. So, but here there are horses, there is a chariot, there is a driver, there is a master, there is a driver. So in this chariot, there are 3-4 components. One is the master of the chariot. You are the boss. Then you have got a chariot, physical assemblage. Then there is a charioteer, the chap who is driver rather. We call it charioteer or driver, a sarathi. That man is called sarathi. Then there are horses. Simple chariot cannot go. There is need for horses. There are some horses. And then the horses have to be reined in. So those reins, they are very important. So in this whole scheme of things, the reins are also very important. It is not something like this is a wheel or something. These reins are very, very important. Wheel of course is very important, but then the wheel etc., the whole thing is covered by the word Ratha. So there is a Ratha, chariot. There are some reins called Pragraha. In Sanskrit it is called Pragraha. Pragraha means, in Telugu we call it Paggamu. Sanskrit word Pragraha becomes Paggam in Telugu. Most of the Sanskrit words, without our knowledge, they are in Telugu, and we don't recognize unless we see the Sanskrit word. So this Pragraha, Grahana means to grab, Graha, to grab. Pragraha means to hold correctly, to hold properly, to hold effectively. That is called Pragraha. So Pragraha is that rein. You have to rein in those horses. Then say Ratha, chariot owner is one thing, chariot is one thing, Pragraha is one thing, then the driver is another thing. There are 4 components which are mentioned here. Let us see what these 4 components are. Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi. So this Rathi, the owner is this Atma. Atma, the self. Then Shariram Rathamevatu, the physical body which is there. After all, it is the hands and legs which have to move out, isn't it? The Indriyas may see, my eye may see something which is there, some sweet which is there, but I have to go to the sweet shop. So the mind, this Indriya will tell my mind, and my mind will be processed by my buddhi, and my buddhi will direct me to go there, isn't it? So that is it. So this Shariram Rathamevatu. For going, my mind cannot go, my buddhi cannot go, I have to physically go. So that it's like that. So Shariram Rathamevatu. Then Buddhim to Sarathim Vidhi. Buddhi is that discriminating ability. Buddhi, we know, the Antahkarana of course is one. Antahkarana, there is no, one and the same. In that Antahkarana, because of the functional difference, Vritti Bheda as it is called, because of the Vritti Bheda or functional difference, we call it in 3-4 different ways. Manaha, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. We know these 4 words. Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta, Aninaham. Shankaracharya says, I am not Manas, I am not Buddhi, I am not Ahankara, I am not Chittam and all that. So what is the difference? Mana is when you just see a thing, your mind just sees and say it understands in a particular way. That is Sankalpa, Vikalpa. You see that thing, okay, this is a tree. Then you may also have a doubt, is it a tree or something else, or is it a person there standing? So this is Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha. So mind just receives an impression, but it has not decided as to what it is, how it has to go about. Then Nischayatmika Buddhihi, that is Buddhi is a faculty where you decide, yes, this is the thing, yes, this is what I have to do. So that is the discriminating aspect of the brain. The 4 aspects of the brain, that is one is Sankalpa Vikalpatmaka, the next is Nischayatmaka, that is the discriminating aspect. The next is Mano Buddhi Ahankara. Aham means I, not arrogance. Ahankara does not mean arrogance, the I. Okay, I am seeing it, I am able to see, I want it or I don't like it. I like it or I don't like it. So this is Ahankara, this I feeling. Then Chittam. After some time you again recall it. So that faculty of recalling is called Chitta. Chitta is again Chitta Vritti, that is why it is called, even if you are sitting idle, closing your eyes, your mind is recalling so many things. These are all Chitta Vrittis because the mind is recalling so many things. So these 4 faculties which are there, functions which are there in the mind, though the Antahkarana is one and the same, because of the difference in faculties. So we are calling it Buddhi, we are calling it Manas, etc. So the Buddhi, the discriminating factor or ability, is called the Sarathi. Sarathi is the person who is driving the chariot. Then Manaha Pragrahamevacha. Mind is something which is that Pragraha, control. You have to keep your silly mind under control. So that Pragraha means that reins. Those that leather cord, or it may be a rope or a leather cord, whatever it is, you hold it and then it is tied to the horse and then you have to hold the horses tight. So that is it. Manaha Pragrahamevacha. So this is the shloka mantra, which is fairly simple. Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi. Mantra is very simple, isn't it? Okay. Then Buddhi is basically the power of reasoning also. We can say the power of reasoning. Yeah, is it good or bad? So that is the power of reasoning. Then let us read the Bhashyam. Tatra tam Atmanam Rutapam Samsarinam Rathinam Rathaswaminam Vidhi Janihi. Tatra means, actually, literally Tatra means there, but it is not Tatra. It does not mean you are not referring to any place. In that analogy, Tatra means in this analogy, Tam Atmanam Rutapam Samsarinam. So he is referring to one Atma. What Atma is it? It is a Jivatma. Why? Because he is saying Rutapa and also Samsari. Rutapa. Rutam Pibantau. We have seen that. Rutam is Karma Phalam. Karma Phalam Pati iti Pibati. Karma Phalam Pibati or Pati is Rutapaha. That is one who drinks that Karma Phalam. One who drinks that Karma Phalam is called Rutapa. Rutapa is one single word. One who drinks that karma phalam or one who enjoys that karma phalam, who is he? He is not Paramatma, he is Jivatma only. So that is why Tatra Tam Atmanam. Tam Atmanam is again in Dvitiya Vibhakti, objective case. Tam Atmanam Rutapam Samsarinam. Then because he is a Rutapa, he is also a Samsari. Because he is enjoying the fruit of karma, he is also a Samsari, he has to take births again and again. So Rutapam Samsarinam, he is the Rathi. Rathinam Rathaswaminam Vidhi. He is the boss of the chariot. He is the boss. Rathaswami. He is the boss. Swami means he is the boss. Swami means Swam. Swam means one's own. Rathaswami means he is identifying himself with that Ratham and he is identifying with that Buddhi, chariot and whatnot. So Rathaswaminam, he is the man who is having that Tadatmya Abhimanam. So Tadatmya Abhimanam means I am this body-mind complex. That is what is called Tadatmya Abhimanam. So he is called Rathaswami. Vidhi Janihi. Janihi means you know. Know that this Rathaswami, or the boss of this chariot, is nothing but that Jivatma. Then Shariram Rathamevatu. Let us read. Shariram Rathamevatu.
Shariram Rathamevatu.
Rathabadha. Rathabadha. Hayasthaniyaihi Indriyaihi. Akrusyamanatvat Sharirasya. So this Sharira is being dragged by different Indriyas to different places, isn't it? So Shariram Rathamevatu. This Sharira, which is the physical body, Rathameva, it is something like a chariot. It has got some wheels, and then there are spokes and wheels, and then there are some various joints here and there. So all these things are, this is the Ratham. Rathamevatu Rathabadha Hayasthaniyehi Indriyehi Akrusyamanatvat Sharirasya. Then this Sharira is something which is being Akrusyamanam, Akarshanam. Yesterday in Gita also we saw the word Karshanam. Karshanam is to pull. Akarshanam is to drag. What is it which is dragging? It is the Indriyas which are dragging. It is the sense organs which are dragging. And what are these silly sense organs? Sense organs are horses only. That we are going to see in the next line. Say Hayasthaniyehi Indriyehi. Hayasthaniyehi Indriyehi means by the sense organs which are comparable to horses. By the sense organs which are comparable to horses. Hayasthaniyehi. Hayasthaniyehi means, you understand that coinage? Manasthaniyam Pragraham. That is, Pragraha is something which is in the place of Manasthanam, in the place of Manas. Then Hayam, horse, is in the place of this what? Indriya. So one is comparable to the other. So that is Hayasthaniyehi Indriyehi. Indriya is, by these Indriyas which are comparable to these horses, the body is being dragged about here and there. The moment the class is over and we go out and then we see something in the market, our Indriyas, they will drag you to that place. So like that. Hayasthaniye Akrusyamanatva Sharirasya. Then Buddhim tu Adhyavasaya Lakshanam Sarathim Vidhi Buddhi Netru Pradhanatvat Sharirasya Sarathi Netru Pradhana Iva Rathaha Netru Pradhana Iva Rathaha. So just as a chariot, just as in a chariot the Sarathi or the driver is very important, in the same manner Buddhi is very important in the body. So that is what he says. Buddhim tu Adhyavasaya Lakshanam. This Buddhi, this driver is a fellow who should not be a drunken fellow. If he is a drunken driver, he will take you and put you in some ditch. So this driver should be alert. Driver should know whether the road is good or not. So Adhyavasaya Lakshana. Adhyavasaya is again discrimination only. Adhyavasaya is discrimination, determination, Nishchaya. Adhyavasaya actually means Nishchaya. Nishchaya, clearly identifying. Nishchaya means that is without any doubt he is identifying it as something. So that is what is that is the characteristic of Buddhi. As I said, though there is no difference in this antahkarana, there is only one antahkarana, because of this vritti bheda, functional difference. Because of the functional difference, you are discriminating the mind, you are separating the mind and buddhi. So this buddhim tu adhyavasaya lakshanam sarathim viddhi. So this buddhi is something which is very important for anybody. So buddhi, unless buddhi is there, say the ratham will go anywhere. Buddhi is the chap who has to direct. In fact, there is a good shloka. If the gods want to favor somebody, gods will give him buddhi. Gods, if they want to protect you, they will not be protecting around you like some security guards or anything like that. Gods, if they want to protect you, they will give you good buddhi. There is a shloka which says that. Na devaha dandamadaya rakshanti pashupalavat. Gods, they don't carry some sticks and then stand around you in order to protect you. Pashupalavat. Pashupala is one who is a shepherd or a cowherd. A cowherd, what does he do? He holds a stick in his hand and then he goes around and then sees that all the cattle there in that cattle pound. So he sees that they don't move here and there. So that is the job of a cattle herd. Whereas the gods, they don't do like that. When they want to protect you, when they want to save you, they don't carry a stick and then they don't hold a stick and stand around you. Na devaha dandamadaya. Dandamadaya means by holding a stick. Rakshanti pashupalavat, they will not do. Then yam hi rakshitum icchanti buddhya sanyojayanti tam. If they want to protect somebody, if they want to help somebody, yam hi rakshitum icchanti. If they really want to help somebody, buddhya sanyojayanti tam. They give him good buddhi. So that is a good shloka. So like that, this buddhi is something, buddhi netru pradhanatvat sharirasya. So sharira is something which is totally dependent on this neta. Neta is leader. Who is this leader? Buddhi. Otherwise, if the buddhi is not good, this neta will lead you somewhere else. So like all our netas, all our netajis, not that old Netaji, our present netas. So buddhi netru pradhanatvat sharirasya means this buddhi neta. Netru pradhana is, that is the leader, this leadership, let us say, this leadership of buddhi is very important for the body, just as the leadership of this sarathi is very important for the chariot. So that is the meaning. Sarvam hi dehagatam karyam buddhi kartavyameva prayena. Because all the activity of the human body is determined by the buddhi only. All human activity. After this class, where should we go? And not only any activity all through the day, you prepare a timetable, and then for tomorrow what you have to do, day after tomorrow you have to do. All the human activity is dependent on buddhi only. Buddhi decides. It is this discriminating factor of the mind which decides as to what should be your course of action. Sarvam hi dehagatam karyam. Dehagatam karyam means bodily activity. Whatever activity is there in the deha or the body, buddhi kartavyameva, that is, it is done by the buddhi only. Then manaha sankalpa vikalpadi lakshanam pragraham rashanam viddhi. So manaha, he is explaining. What is this mind? Sankalpa vikalpadi lakshanam. I explained to you these terms. Sankalpa is when you look at something, you visualize, oh, this is the thing, oh, it is like this. Then immediately vikalpa, oh, is it like this or not? So it is not able to decide. So that is the level which is called sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha. Buddhi is nishchayatmika. You decide and then yes, this is good, this is bad. You make a judgment in your mind whether you have to go ahead, whether you like it or dislike it. So that is it. So this manaha, manas is what? Pragraham rashanam viddhi. Pragraha, I explained to you, pragraha is the train. So another Sanskrit word is rashana. Pragraham is rashana. Rashanam viddhi means you know, janihi. Then manasahi pragruhitani shrotradini karanani pravartante rashanaya iva ashvaha. So rashanaya iva ashvaha, like the horses are controlled by this rein. It is only when this rein is properly held and rein is properly handled, the horses are controlled. If you leave the reins, leaving the reins loose also is one way. If you move the reins as you like, then the horses, they will get a signal in a different way. So if you want to turn the horse to the left side, you have to move the rein in a particular way. If you want to go to the right direction, you have to move the rein in a particular way. So that the Sarathi has to know. Whereas that is the role of this manasa. Manasahi pragruhitani. If the mind properly holds all these shrotra adini karanani, these 5 indriyas, shrotra adi. Shrotra means the sense of hearing. The sense of hearing, sense of sight, sense of touch, all these 5 senses are there. So the mind has to firmly hold, pragruhita, that is firmly held by this mind. Only then they pravartante rashanaya iva ashvaha. Just as the horses go in a proper way, only when the reins are properly held, these indriyas have to be properly held by the mind. So that is the meaning here. Then next mantra, Indriyani hayanahuhu Vishayansteshu gocharan Atmendriya manoyuktam Bhoktetya hurmanishinaha. Or we still have time? Okay. So we have seen this 3 components of this Ratham. That is, we have seen the master, we have seen the chariot, we have seen the buddhi. Buddhi means what? That is Sarathi, that is the driver. We have also seen the reins. There is another 5th component. Yeah, earlier I said only 4 components. There are 5 components. These horses are also there. One is the Rathi, that is boss. The other is the chariot. The other is the driver. Another thing is the reins. The most important thing are the horses. If the horses are not there, this body is not going to move. So Indriyani hayanahuhu. This Indriyani, this whole thing is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi, then Indriyani Hayanahu, Vishayansteshu Gocharan. This is all in Dvitiya Vibhakti, that is an objective case. Indriyani Hayan Ahuhu. Haya is horse. Haya is a horse. Hayan Ahuhu means they say. Ahuhu, they say. What? Indriyas are the horses, it is said. Indriyas are the horses, it is said. Vishayansteshu Gocharan. Then Vishaya. Vishaya means the sense objects. Vishaya is, again I explained to you that word. Shi bandhane. It comes from the root Shi bandhane. That which binds is a Vishaya. A sense object is something which binds. In Sanskrit, all these words, if you see the etymological meaning, it is so interesting. If you go to the etymology of these words, it is very, very interesting to see how appropriately all these words are used in, these texts. Nowadays, of course, if we don't know these roots, in Telugu, when you give a speech, people use these words as they like, very freely, without knowing the actual meaning. Anyway, Vishaya is something which binds. Vishayansteshu gocharan. That is, what are these sense objects? These sense objects are the paths, or the path, or the route in which these indriyas they go. Then, Atmendriya manoyuktam bhokta iti ahuhu manishinaha. Atma indriya manaha yuktam. This is the person who is identifying himself with this indriya and manaha. This body-mind complex. This Atma is here is self. This self identifying himself with this thing, indriya and manas and all these things, it is called the bhokta. Bhokta is the enjoyer. Enjoyer means he may suffer the negative sequence also. He may enjoy or suffer, but he is commonly called the enjoyer. If he has done a good deed, he will enjoy, he has a good result. If he has done a bad deed, he has got a bad results. So either he has to enjoy or suffer. Both are included by the word enjoyer. So he is the bhokta, he is the eater, let us say. It is from the dhatu, bhuj dhatu. Bhuj dhatu means, bhuj means eating, bhojanam. He is called the bhokta, ahuhu manishinaha. Manishinaha means wise man. Manisha yasya asti iti manishi. Manisha means buddhi. Buddhir manisha dhishana it is called. Manisha is buddhi. Manisha asti iti manishi. Manishinaha is the plural. Manishanaha means people who are wise. The wise men, they say that Indriyas are the horses, that is sense organs are the horses, and then all these sense objects, they are the paths in which these horses travel. And then the person who identifies himself with this Atma, Indriya, Manas, etc., he is called the Bhokta. If he does not have the Tadatmya Buddhi, he is not a Bhokta. We are now referring to a Bhokta only. So this Bhoktrutvam is something which is not natural to the self. Bhoktrutvam is something which is because of this Upadhi. Bhoktrutvam is because of this body-mind complex which is called the Upadhi. So Bhoktrutvam, otherwise it is not natural. So this is what we have to see by this word Atmendriya Mano Yuktam. Yuktam is one that is associated. That which is associated with the self, Indriya and mind, etc., that is called Bhokta. So this is the, we are now talking about this self here means the embodied self, as we call it. Embodied self, the one which is identifying himself with the body-mind complex. So is this shloka clear? If you still have time, we will see Bhashyam. Over. Okay, then we will see the thing in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Next class we will have it as usual on Monday. Tuesday.